And we're back, and I keep saying we're back, and we're always back, and it just seems to be a bit misleading, but yeah. What a weird intro I could have done right there. However, we are doing another prediction video, and we're doing the Northern Counties Division 1 now. Some people said, look, you need to do United Counties, and I will. I will do United Counties when I get a spare 5 minutes. I seem to be going up and down the country at the minute, and loads of videos are coming and loads of podcast episodes are coming. So, yes, I am extremely busy, but I will get round to doing the UCL Division 1 North. I could try and do the Division 1 as well, which will be interesting. But, yes, we are doing the Northern Counties Division 1, and I needed some help with predictions. But he's a great lad, Adam Gittings. We decided to team up and see how we do in terms of our predictions. So, without further ado, I'm building the suspense here, but come on then. Let's see how we got on.
I'd think, Adam, right? We're 3 weeks away from the season starting. I don't know where's the time gone?
It's flown by. I mean, it kind of feels like we've been waiting for ages for like the fixtures and just to know like what's going on pre-season and stuff like that. But now we actually know what's going on. It's it's flown by, and like I say, we're back at games now, and before we know it, season will be here.
You're telling me? Yeah, it's. Like I say, I can't believe this. Like I say, the season finished in April. We'll say for 5 and 6, and then all of a sudden now we're approaching July. But have you got? I know the NCEL fixtures came out last week, but have you kind of got an eye on which one you'd like to do if you get the chance?
Yeah, definitely. It's been interesting looking at them all actually, because it's interesting to see, because I followed Donny home and away, so I'm especially looking at like what's going to be midweek, and it looks like we've put a lot out early on in the season on midweeks, which is perfect for me. It's probably so that you don't have as many called off in the winter and stuff like that, but there's at least my local team's roster to Maine was at least, I think there's 4 or 5 midweek home games, so that's perfect for me.
Is there any grounds or clubs you want to see this season?
I'd like to try and complete both leagues. I completed Division 1 last year, but we've got a few new teams in there. Route 1, Rove's not gonna lie, it's gonna be a bit of a pain to get to. It's fair distance. I'd like to try and complete the league if I can. In terms of Prem, I quite like to go to Pickering this year. Nope, not been there yet. So that'd be a good one to get to. And I've not done, like I say, a lot of North Yorkshire ones, Tadcaster, Knaresborough. But it'll be good to get to. Then I always enjoy going to your likes of Brigtown. That's one of my favourite non-league grounds. And I'll see what we'll get to. Like I said, plans will change all the way through the season, so I get to revisit a lot of good ones. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, you'll definitely like Knaresborough, mate. It's a nice, it's a lovely town. Really, really nice town. It's a lovely little ground as well. Nice little walk as well if you get the chance. So, but to be fair, we are doing our Division 1 predictions because, like I said, we are about 3 weeks away from the season. But to be honest, I'm guessing a bit like you. You probably had a look at the league and thinking, right, chopping and changing, who's going to be winning league, who's going to finish it playoffs, who's going to go up. I can't really call this league, mate, this season. There is a good batch of teams this season, but I can't really call who's going to win the league and who's going to go up.
Yeah, it's tough one this year. There's, I think, like the top 6 or 7 are going to be pretty strong, and like I say, there probably won't be a lot in it in them 7 places. I don't think anyone could finish anywhere from going up automatically to playoffs to just missing out. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one to pick.
Well, we'll see then. So let's pick your brains then. Who have you got winning the league then this season?
So I'll be honest. I think it's, like I said, I think there's going to be 6 or 7 who's going to be up there, but I think it's going to be quite close between 2 teams, in my opinion, so far. And I think we're going to have a repeat of the title race for Central Midlands League 2 seasons ago. But I think it's going to be the other team that comes out on top this time. I can't really look past it at minute Donny City not winning the league. I think they're going to be strong. We've got a lot of backing, a lot of momentum on the side. We're going to pull players at this level. So yeah, I think it's going to be close between them and the other team, Durham District. I think they're going to be top 2. I mean, Durham look really strong with some of the signings we've made. But I think I'm going to go, and it's hard being a Rovers fan, but I'm going to go Donny City winning the league.
Yeah, they are strong this season. Nick Buxton has done he's pulled the players in. He knows the club really, really well. He's a good friend of mine as well, football friends and all that, whole 9 yards. But if the viewers haven't seen it, I've already put Donny City's badge where you are right now. But I'm going to go with a club that have thrown a lot of money already this season. They've brought in some good players, the likes of Ross Duggan, the likes of Adam Watson. Liam Hardy's now at the coaching, part of the coaching staff with James Kay as the manager. I'm going to go with Maltby Main because it's a big season for Maltby. I think, for them, they need to, from what I remember, from when I started following this league, just over 4 years ago, they were a club that were in the Prem, and I think they'd want to get back to step 5, and they want to, with the players that they've got, the caliber of players that they've signed already, you're thinking they should be step 5, but money doesn't buy you the league all the time. But I think, well, coincidentally, the two teams that we picked is the first fixture on a Friday night.
That's a cracker for the first game of the season as well. That is an unreal pick for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get to it. Are you gonna try and get to that fixture?
I'll do my best. As long as I've got no on over there.
Well then, in no particular order then, who have you got as your playoffs? And I'm gonna well, it's a 2-part question then. Who do you think is gonna go up from the playoffs?
Oof. So Donny City win league, and then I've got order might change here a bit, but I've got Durning District, Maltby Main, Wakefield, and Goole. And I think Durning District's going to go up as well.
They were unlucky last season, weren't they?
Lottery, anything can happen in playoffs, but be harsh on Wakefield, like I say, for loss, because they've also lost 3 semi-finals in a row. So I would kind of like them to do it, but I think I'm going to go Durning District.
Do you think there's probably more pressure on Wakefield to go up this season? Because you've just mentioned the semi-finals.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, we've had semi-finals. They spent a lot of money, at the end of last season to try and win the league when it was Wunwell and Horbury, and they fell short, unfortunately. But they've kind of been favourites for a few years now, so they'll be desperate to get out of this league.
Definitely. Well, I've gone with, in terms of playoffs in no particular order, I've gone with Wakefield, I've gone with Donny City, and I've gone a couple of surprising ones, which I think a couple of people might disagree with. I've gone with Worsby Bridge. I think they had a tremendous season last season. They were unlucky to not get in the playoffs. And I've gone with Route 1 Rovers. Again, they're a bit of an unknown. And again, we've not really seen too much of them, have we? I know they've been in the Northwest Counties, but I feel like, a bit like Horbury and Campion over the last couple of years, I feel like they could be a bit of an unknown into the league and how they play. Yeah,
it'll be an interesting one. There's been a few in here like that. I'll be honest, I don't have a clue about them. Just kind of going in blind with them. I'm going to be. It's always interesting for teams that you don't know. It's a bit like Ilkley and South Leeds last year. It's always interesting to see how they'll do.
Yeah, I didn't really see Ilkley and South Leeds last season, but from what people told me, they were good size to watch. So I'll try and get them on my list this season. But in terms of, I think who was going to win the playoffs, I can't see. I can see Donny City winning playoffs. I do think they'll go up, just like what you've got as them to win the league. But I just feel like they've got some good players, and I think they've kept most of the squad from last season. So I can see it being a Donny City Wakefield final if it was my predictions in terms of that. But I think Donny City will win. Will go for the playoffs. But it should be exciting times. So then, in terms of the teams missing out, then 6th, 7th, and 8th, who have you got as teams just missing out in the playoffs?
Yeah, all 3 of these were tough to leave out playoffs when I was kind of doing predictions. I was kind of originally thinking these would get in, but then, like I said, when you put all the other teams together and you actually get that table, it's like, they're actually going to miss out. So 3 teams I've got just missing out. I've got Club Thorn Colliery, Brigtown, and Ilkley Town.
Do you think Thorn are going to be the surprising one this season for you?
I do. I do. I mean, they've signed some decent players. I know things hasn't always been easy at Ford, with what's gone off behind the scenes and stuff like that with the clubhouse and all that sort of stuff. It's not been an easy time for them, but for a great community club, got a lot of support, and I just got a new management team in as well. I fancy them to have a good year. They finished the season really strong last season. I think we're going to carry that on into this season.
Definitely, it's one of those, I think, with Thorn. I mean, I do like them as a football club. I do agree with you there, and unfortunately, I've got them a bit further down, but we'll get to that a bit later on. But in terms of the teams I've got Brig, I've got Dern. I'm really sorry, Dern. I think they're going to miss out on the playoffs. And I've got Harrogate Railway. I'm always thinking with Harrogate Railway, I always tip, a bit like Brig, I always tip them to do really well in the season, and they always falter. I know they missed out on the playoffs, going up a few seasons ago, but I feel like they're becoming a bit of a team that starts well but falters, like a bit like Brig. Do you feel like they could be the teams that are going to miss out, or they're going to falter towards the end?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, Brig, they always seem to, you think they're going to make it, and then, like you say, just fall short. I think we just ran out of games last year. Same with Harrogate. I mean, when I first started following NCEL, I think we made playoff final that season, and then we came second season after. So they've always been one of the teams that's been up there for me. But the last few years have been more mid-table. But I do really like the club. I love going to Fairground. So hopefully they can get themselves a bit higher up in table. I don't, like I said, I think playoffs are too much of a stretch, but it would be good to see him back around the top 8 or 9 or so.
Well, of course, they've got a brand new 4G pitch, which will be pretty good next season. So see how they play football. So who have you got them rounded off the top 10?
So final 2, I've got Selby and South Leeds.
So I've gone with Gull. Again, I think it'll be one of those. I know you got Gull as the playoffs, and it's one of those where I feel like that it's the first season in Step 6. They've flirted with relegation with Step 5 for a long time, but I feel like for us, it could be either they could have a really good season and go to playoffs, or that it could be just a season where they're just embedding themselves. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like for them it could be that?
Yeah, I feel like it's similar to like Maltby last season. I had finishing in playoffs, and we ended up around about that 9th, 10th. Can't remember exactly where they finished, but I feel like. I mean, I still feel like they'll make playoffs. I mean, they kept the actual end of the season not too bad when we got. I can't remember his name. The striker who scored all the goals for him. We've got a decent keeper in Von Crosby now. I feel like they're a more solid team now. But like I say, when you've had as poor a season as they had last year, that's it don't go away.
Yeah,
usually the season after, so it might take a few years.
Yeah, well, I did see them get the bragging rights against Barton, so for them that was pretty good for them. But yeah, I've got Winston rounded off the top 10. Again, they've signed quite a few players, and I feel like a bit like Gull, they'll just. I can't believe the fact that 2 seasons ago would be sitting here thinking that Winston was Step 4, and now they're Step 6. It's incredible how football changes.
I know, I didn't see that happening as well when we got promoted to Step 4 for flying as well in NCEL, and I just thought it'd probably continue, but probably be steady at Step 4 for a while. But no, it just shows how quickly it can change in football.
Definitely. So then, in terms of mid-table, then, so we'll go from 11th to, let's say, 14th, something like that. We could talk about some of the clubs we've got then. So who have you got then from 11th to 14th? The clubs that probably aren't going to go down, but they're maybe on the cusp of the top half at table.
Yeah, so I've got place low new. I've got Winston 11th, and then I've got Worsborough 12th, Glassalton 13th, and Harrogate Railway in 14th. Winston, kind of like what we said for Gull and like Maltby last year. I think it's going to be more steady the ship kind of season for them. Just like get used to Step 6 again, and then maybe push on the season after. Worsborough's a tricky one, to be fair. They were very unlucky to miss out on playoffs, to be fair, last season. And we're no disrespect to them, we're punching quite a bit of overweight in where they finished. So fair play to them. But yeah, they're a tough one to pick, to be fair, because I don't think they'll be back down in the relegation zone. I think they'll but I don't think it'll be as high as last season. So I've gone around mid-table, and then Glass out an hour ago, they were kind of around this position last year. I just don't see much changing, to be fair, with either of them two.
It's weird though with some of the clubs in at step 6, certainly that mid-table, because they're all the same. In terms of quality, they're all really the same. Like they're not going to go down, they're not going to go up. But
yeah, exactly. It's kind of hard just to where to slot them in, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I've gone with 11th South Leeds. I think, like, given that they had a good first season, I feel like teams are going to suss them out a little bit. It depends. I feel like there's better teams at the top half of the table. I think they'll, unless South Leeds could put a little run together, I think they'll be mid-table. 12th, I've gone with Thorn. Bit of a contrast from what we've done. 13th, I've gone with Colts. They've signed, they've kept most of the squad from last season. They've signed some experienced players from step 5 and step 6. So for me, I think they'll be fine in the first season. And 14th, I've gone with Selby. Selby, this one, I wasn't too sure with Selby because you don't know what you're going to get with them. They could either be really good or they could be really poor.
Yeah, they can tend to yo-yo to like just outside the playoffs or just outside bottom 3 as such. And like you say, you just don't know which you're going to get.
Yeah, I'm due to go back to Selby. It's been about 4 years since I went to Selby.
I do like Selby. It's great Selby.
It is a good little ground, to be fair. I always remember the owls that they had that were there.
Yeah.
It was the most random thing I ever saw. I was like, what are these doing here? But then again, it was a time when, I don't know if you remember Humber United back in the day.
Yeah.
Ground share with them. Like, it was hard to think that they were an NCL Cup 4 year ago. I completely forgot about it until I just remembered it then.
It's a mad situation, that, as well, whether to have to merge with Askin.
Oh, that was crazy. I remember I went to watch Askin Reserves play Bentley Village, and Bentley Village were winning the league. I think they were in Donny League then.
Yeah. And
I remember I was knowing about the whole merger thing for a bit, and I remember getting a call about 20 minutes before the reserves were playing, saying, "Oh yeah, deal's off. We're folding," which is sad, really, because did you ever tick off Askin's ground?
No, I didn't. No, I hadn't. Because the end of the reserves team were in, like I say, Donny League. I think the first team are as well now, but I think they folded quite early into the season. But
because they were in Central Midlands, because I remember seeing them away at Collingham, and they were proper battling performance. But then, of course, there was talk about going into Sheffield League, and then that all fell through. And I think they're back in the Donny League now. But I remember the ground being pretty nice. To be fair, it was quite a nice little setup. But if they ever come back, it'd be a good one to tick off if they ever come back up.
Yeah, definitely.
So then we'll finish off mid-table then before we go into who's going to be finishing the relegation. So 15th all the way down to 18th.
Okay, so 15th, I've gone for Armthorpe Welfare. Next two, I've got kind of a bit of unknowns. 16, gone for Leeds UFCA. 17th, Route 1 Rovers. And then 18th, I've gone for Eversley.
Wow, you've changed. Well, we've got one actually that is the same, and that's Armthorpe at 15th. Like,
right.
Must have left my mind when we were doing our predictions. I feel like with Armthorpe, they are. It's frustrating with Armthorpe because they are. I like, I've always been welcomed into the club, and again, I just feel like they're just stuck, in step 6, and they just don't look like a side that could really challenge at the top end, like like what Rosington have done.
Yeah, it's been a weird one with them. I know we've had a lot of changes behind the scenes and stuff like that, but just like I say, they've been around kind of like 13th to 16th the last couple of years now, and like I say, you just can't see it changing. To be honest with
you. No. So you got, where did you have? So who else did you have in that?
Armthorpe 15th, 16th and 17th. I had Leeds UFCA and Route 1 Rovers. I'll be honest, not clue either of these. I know Leeds came up from the Yorkshire Amateur Division. They were ice. One who passed ground grade and who applied. So, like I say, South Leeds came from that season before, and they did all right. It's a bit of an unknown, like you say. So I just had to guesstimate with this a bit. And Route 1 Rovers, I think they came third bottom at this level in West Counties. So I think, I'm not too sure. I think West Counties is a slightly higher standard than NCEL. So I was just kind of going off that and just guesstimating a bit. Yeah, you haven't got a clue where to put them, to be honest with you. So I'm just going with 17th. And then Aversley started last season really well, but then fell off towards the end of the season. I think they finished around here last season. The overall was kind of just above the dotted line, and I think it'll be similar again this season.
Yeah, because they've been sort of flirting with sort of going down for a few seasons. I don't feel like they've really sort of settled well ever since they come down from Step 5 a few years ago. And
they got quite lucky as well that year because they finished bottom. But I think, is it Hall Road Rangers? Is that?
Yeah,
I think
they
folded or dropped out of the league after it had been finalised, so they technically finished bottom and they survived on goal difference.
Yeah.
So.
It's weird how things work in Step 6. But yes, 16th I'll go with Ilkley Town. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one with that. I wasn't, again, second season. I feel like I feel they'll be okay, but you know what? The problem is with Ilkley, because they're so out of the sticks. It's in terms of, I feel like attracting players is always going to be difficult. Given I know you're in the midst of Huddersfield and Leeds and Bradford, which isn't too bad. But the problem is, I feel like there's so many clubs around that way, like Golker and Eccleshill and Embley and those teams. I feel like the pool of players is so difficult.
Yeah, and you said it as well. It's miles away. Even like your Leeds and Huddersfield, it's miles away. Trust me. I've been. It's kind of, you've only really got Silverstone around there who but they've gone up to Step 4 now. It's well out of the way of probably Harrogate Railway's closest club, but that's not even that close either.
No, that's still a bit of a distance away. But yeah, 17th I've gone with Nostell. I feel like they're going to be sort of languishing down that sort of bottom end. They have been for the last couple of seasons, but they're one of the very few grounds I still need to tick off in this league, which I think is incredible. I always make a ploy. I'll be like, right, I need to do Nostell this season, and then I get sidetracked and go somewhere else. That's my biggest problem. So, and then 18th, I've gone with Louth. Again, they're another club that's massively out in the sticks. It's. Have you ticked off Louth then? Like, what was your experience like?
Yeah, it's. I say Ilkley's miles away. Louth really is miles away. I can't even think what the closest one to Louth is, but they haven't really got a close. It's probably like your Winston or something like that, but they haven't really got a close game.
Skegness, mate, you'll be in United Counties.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was surprised Swallows got United Counties and Louth didn't, to be honest with you. But yeah, it. To be fair, it's not a bad sell. I mean, problem it's not even in Louth. It's in is it Saltfleet? It's like a village just outside of Louth. So they always struggle to get numbers in. Like, it's very rare to get over 100. I mean, I were in Cleethorpes when Retford United played them away. I was there Friday night, so we drove down Saturday. So that's all the reason I've been, to be fair. But yeah, it's like I say, pool of players. It's a bit of a nightmare. In terms of travelling as well, it's like some of their Tuesday night games are probably not getting until like 2-3 in the morning. To be honest with you, it's going to be some like Harrogate Railway or Clifton, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's the thing with Louth. The problem that they've got is about, I think it's half an hour drive. You've got Grimsby Borough, who are Step 4, and then you've got Skegness, which is, well, of course, in United Counties, which that's probably their closest club. I do feel for Louth in a way, because it's, they are even drive from like Gainsborough and Retford. I think it's still a good hour away.
Oh yeah, I think it was just over an hour from Gainsborough when I did it.
Those roads, mate. Those roads going to Louth.
yeah, now Lincolnshire Road as well. It's
especially Tuesday night when it's like middle of December.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel your pain, mate. I really do. So then we've got through most of the league then. So 19th to 22nd then, who have you got is going to be just below that dotted line?
Right, so 19th place, I've gone for Crowell. Honestly, I don't know a lot about Crowell. I know they've been in Lincolnshire Premier League for quite a few seasons now. I think Appleby went up season before. I think Crowell finished above them, but fell ground grading. I might be wrong with that, but I think we did have floodlights, but we've got them now. I think that's the case anyway. But yeah, a lot of unknowns. I know we didn't win the league, but it's hard to judge. I mean, a lot of teams who's come up from Lincolnshire League haven't done the best. I know Lav got mid-table the first season, but Appleby really struggled. It's been hard. I've swapped Crowell out at bottom three quite a few times, but I have left him in there now. So going to the bottom three, 20th, I've gone for Nostell. Similar to what you said, to be fair, I think I just, last season were a bit of a struggle, and I just feel like I don't know how to describe it, but just seem. I mean, when I first watched them, we were doing all right, but we just seemed to go, slip down the table year on year, and I think we just missed out on bottom three last year, and I think this could be a year where they do slide in. And then second bottom, I've gone for Louth. Always tough for Louth. I mean, I watched them last year against bottom team Yorkshire Amateur, and they looked very bad. But then, to be fair to them, they did pick up a good run of form towards the end of the season and survived pretty comfortably. But I don't think that'll be the case this year. I do think there will be down there. And then bottom place, I've gone for Appleby Frodingham. I said they needed a miracle to get out of it, and they did get a miracle. But I don't know if they signed a load of players or what, but just seemed to be beating everyone and went on a crazy run and stayed up on points per game. But I don't think that's going to be the case this year. So yeah, I've got Nostell, Louth, and Appleby as my bottom three.
So I've gone with 19th, so just finishing just above. I'm going to go with Leeds UFCA again, a bit like you. I do agree with you. I think they're a bit of an unknown. Again, don't really know too much about the Yorkshire Amateur League, if I'm totally honest with you. That league and the West Yorkshire League, I'm not really too sort of well genned up about it. So again, I don't know how strong they're going to be. Yeah, it's one of those really. 20th, surprisingly, I'm going for Glass Allen. It's a weird one with Glass Allen because I like them as a club, and the ground is all right. I was welcomed really nicely there when I saw them against Wakefield a few seasons ago. But again, they're a bit like Affersley, a bit like Nostell. They'll either be sort of low, sort of top part of the top part. This is going to sound silly, but top part of the lower mid table, or they're going to be fighting relegation. There's nothing in between with Glass Allen for me, so I feel like they're just going to slip below the dot line. 21st, surprisingly, I'm going to go with Affersley Rec. That one, I think they could, again, another club, I feel like they could either be just slipping between, into the bottom three, or they might do all right. And then bottom of the table, no surprise, just like you, I'm going with Appleby Fraud. I think they've done extremely well to get up to step 6, but I feel like it's a massive struggle. And the problem they've got is when you've got the likes of Brigg, Winterton, Botsford, Kroll, which is now down the road, Immingham, who are coming, they'll be coming in from the Lincolnshire League. It's very hard for them, and I don't think they get quite a lot of fans that turn up to the ground.
No, not really. Yeah.
So it's hard for them already. Like, I do commend them, what they've done, and I do need to come off at some point. So I'm not going to try and trash them as much as I can. I won't, because I want to be welcomed. I've got them in. Well, I've got them bottom of the table. So, but yeah, we've done our. There we go. Division 1 predictions, mate. How do you feel, mate? I think it's going to be an exciting season.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not confident with the predictions at all. Especially with so many unknowns. That I've never watched Leeds UCFA, I've never watched Route 1 Rovers. But yeah, time will tell. I think roughly, probably top 5, bottom 3. I don't think we'll be a million miles off. But we could have some shockers like, say someone like 6th or 7th finishing down the relegation zone. That tends to happen quite a lot. The worst ones at season always tends to be the unknown. Like I think season 1 well came up. I had them just above relegation zone, and they finished just outside playoffs. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens, mate. Adam, you've been an absolute star, mate. Thanks for coming on, and like I said, hopefully we'll see you soon, mate.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So there we go then. Big thanks to Adam, who we were able to do his predictions. We'll see how we get on, actually. I think there's some curveballs, but I think there's some surprising ones. But we shall see. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. A big thank you to our sponsor, MKS Ground Care, who are supporting the channel, of course, throughout the year. And I say, we'll see you soon. Peace.